I thought love ended because of huge betrayals.
I always thought love ended because of huge betrayals affairs, lies that lasted for years, secrets that rotted everything from the inside out. I never imagined that what finally destroyed my future would begin with laughter. Not the warm kind, but the careless kind that makes you feel important for a moment and ashamed forever after. 4 days ago, I was supposed to be finalizing seating charts and tasting cakes. Instead, I'm sitting alone in an apartment that feels too quiet, surrounded by wedding gifts I can't bring myself to open. My engagement didn't slowly fall apart. It shattered in front of everyone we knew, and I was the one holding the hammer. I met Noah 3 years ago at a mutual friend's game night. He wasn't the loudest person in the room, but he was the one who listened. He asked questions that showed genuine curiosity, remembered small details, and made space for other people instead of competing for attention. I liked that about him. I loved it, actually. Being with him felt peaceful in a way I didn't know I needed. He proposed last winter, kneeling in the snow with hands that were shaking more from emotion than cold. I said yes without hesitation. Planning a life with him felt easy, natural. He trusted me completely, and I mistook that trust for something unbreakable. I insisted on one big pre-wedding party instead of separate bachelor events. I wanted everyone together, our friends, our families, laughter filling the space. I wanted it to feel special, perfect. What I didn't realize was that I also wanted to feel admired. The drinks flowed faster than I expected. Conversations overlapped, music grew louder, and I slipped into the role I knew too well, the storyteller, the one who could make people laugh. Someone asked how Noah and I met, and I told the story, embellishing it just enough to get a chuckle, then another comment, then another. I joked about how awkward he was when we first dated, about how he mispronounced words, about how he once tried to cook for me and nearly burned the kitchen down. People laughed, and instead of stopping, I leaned into it. I didn't notice how his smile stopped reaching his eyes. I didn't notice how quiet he became. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself everyone joked like this. I told myself he knew I didn't mean it. I was wrong. The room eventually went quiet, though I didn't realize it right away. Noah stood near the window, his jaw clenched, his hands tight around his glass. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm, but it carried weight. He asked me if humiliating him was supposed to be funny. I tried to laugh it off, to say I was just telling stories. But he wasn't laughing. He said I'd been doing this for a long time, turning him into a joke whenever there was an audience. He said he'd tried to ignore it, tried to believe it wasn't intentional. Then he said something that made my chest go cold. He told me he had almost called off the wedding the week before. The room felt like it tilted. He explained that someone from my past had reached out to him, filling in pieces of a story I never told. About a relationship I didn't fully end when Noah and I first started dating. About lies by omission I convinced myself didn't matter anymore. He said he spent a week questioning everything, wondering if the woman he loved was real, or just the version I chose to show him. I tried to speak, but he didn't let me. He walked into our bedroom and came back holding our rings. For a moment, I thought he was going to hand them to me. Instead, he opened the window. The sound they made as they disappeared into the night was small, almost insignificant, but it echoed louder than any argument ever could. He said there wasn't going to be a wedding. Then he said there wasn't going to be an us. And just like that, he was gone. The party dissolved quickly after that. People avoided my eyes, whispered apologies, made excuses to leave. When the door finally closed behind the last guest, I stood alone in the wreckage of what I had created, half-empty glasses. Untouched food, decorations meant for a future that no longer existed. The days that followed blurred together. I called him until my phone battery died. I sent messages I knew he would never read. I showed up at places he might be, hoping for even a glimpse of him. Eventually, his sister answered one call just to tell me to stop, to let him heal. That was when it finally sank in that apologies don't always earn forgiveness. I replay that night constantly, searching for the moment I could have stopped. The joke I didn't need to make. The laugh I didn't need to chase. I think about how often I mistook kindness for weakness, how easily I spoke without thinking, how comfortable I became assuming he would always stay. Now, I understand something I didn't before. Love isn't just about affection or attraction. It's about protection. It's about guarding the person you love from harm, including harm that might come from you. I don't know where Noah is now. I don't know if he ever thinks about me the way I think about him. All I know is that the future I planned so carefully disappeared in one night. Not because of fate or bad luck, but because I failed to treat love with the respect it deserved. If there's any lesson in this, it's a painful one. Words matter. Jokes matter. The way you speak about the person you love, especially in front of others, matters more than you realize. I lost my fiancé, my wedding, and the life I thought was guaranteed. And I'll spend a long time learning how to live with the knowledge that I did this to myself.